Good evening and Merry Easter, class. Grab your Bibles and turn to page 394. This is for everybody that didn't go to church today or forgot. Just kidding. I'm gonna skip around a little bit though because we have like a lot. We'd be here for a long time, and I don't have much storage on my phone. And I kind of just want to skip to the parts that, we'll see. We'll go through it together. But personally, honestly, if I came back to show the creation I made how to live, like how to properly love each other, like y'all are kind of tweaking out down here. Let's go ahead and like not do that. Let's not like do all the heinous sacrificial psycho things y'all are doing to each other. And then they sacrifice me. Not sacrifice, but then they like murdered me. I personally, I would obliterate the entire planet. I'd be like, oh, okay. And I would like destroy everything. But that is why he is God and I am not. I wouldn't be God of much for long because I'm crazy. Okay, let's begin. Matthew 21. I need to make a thumbnail. I don't know if any of those are going to be usable, but we'll see. Okay, let's read. So basically this last Sunday, not this Sunday, this is last Sunday, Palm Sunday, when Jesus rode into Bethphage. I don't know why I always say Bethphage. But he rode into the town, triumphant, everyone's welcoming him. It was like a whole big party, like everyone was happy. And just is crazy how it took like from last Sunday to this Sunday for them to like flip on him and betray him, like so quick. But anyway, let's read. Now, when they drew near Jerusalem and came to Bethphage at the Mount of Olives, then Jesus sent 2 disciples, saying to them, "Go into the village opposite of you, and immediately you will find a donkey tied and a colt with her. Loose them and bring them to me. And if anyone says anything to you, you shall say, 'The Lord has need of them,' and immediately he will send them." And this was done, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophet, saying, "Tell the daughter of Zion, behold, your king is coming to you, lowly, and sitting on a donkey, a colt, the foal of a donkey." It's fulfilling the prophecy. The prophecy. Super cool. So the disciples went and did as Jesus commanded them. They brought the donkey and the colt, laid their clothes on them, and set him on them. And a very great multitude spread their clothes on the floor, on the road. And a very great multitude spread their clothes on the road. Others cut down branches from trees and spread them on the road. That's where we get Palm Sunday from, because people used to spread palm tree leaves and stuff, if I'm not mistaken, on the roads and stuff for him. Then the multitudes who went before and those who followed cried out, saying, "Hosanna to the Son of David!" Exclamation mark. "Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest." They were real bad at back then. And when he had come into Jerusalem, all the city was moved, saying, "Who is this?" So the multitude said, "This is Jesus, the prophet from Nazareth of Galilee." Beautiful. So that was last Sunday. We're going to skip a little bit, because this is, oh wait, we'll read about him cleansing the temple because that's fun. Jesus cleanses the temple. Then Jesus went into the temple of God and drove out all those who bought and sold in the temple, and overturned the tables. Flipping tables. And overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold doves. And he said to them, "It is written, 'My house shall be called a house of prayer,' but you have made it a den of thieves." And he started flipping stuff over, and yeah, he start crashing out, which makes sense because they started to like sell stuff in a sacred place. Like they turned into like some like hustle culture hub type thing, and he wasn't about it. They started flipping their tables over. The money I would give to witness that. That's super. I mean, I think it's super relatable. I probably would have done more. Maybe not. I don't know. I wasn't there, but very relatable. Okay. That's current parentheses. The lesson of the withered fig tree. The parable of the two sons. The parable of the wicked vine dressers. The parable of the wedding feast. Super cool. Lots of parables, lots of teachings, which I can totally read to y'all later if you'd like. I'd like, so I might do it. Chapter 22. The scribes. What about the resurrection? The Pharisees asking, is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar? I think all of these are so interesting. I never really made the click in my head personally between the Roman Empire and Jesus' timeline until I got older. I don't know why. I knew about Pontius Pilate and Romans and all that stuff at the time, of course, but it just seemed so separate for some reason for so long. When really Jesus was around with the second Roman emperor and the first Roman emperor, Octavian, and then Tiberius, the second one, if I'm not mistaken, which is so interesting. That's so interesting. I mean, the Roman Empire, the Roman Republic was around for a long time prior, already established as a thing, an entity for a long time prior, hundreds of years. But it's just so crazy. The first Roman emperor, and then Jesus, and then the second Roman emperor are it's really interesting. Very cool stuff. But anyways, I digress. Oh, this was pretty cool. We'll read this little bit and then we'll go ahead and go into the resurrection story. But the scribes, the ones that came up to him, were asking, which is the first commandment of all? They were trying to trick him up because he had a crowd around him and everything, and they were trying to ask him trick questions and stuff to trip him up. So, but when the Pharisees heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, I can never say that right, they gathered together. Then one of them, a lawyer, asked him a question, testing him and saying, Teacher, which is the great commandment in the law? Jesus said to him, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. Super cool. Because it basically embodies all the 10 commandments. Both of those. I just think it's great. It's all about loving God and then loving each other. Very good stuff. Okay, let's go. Jesus laments over Jerusalem. The signs of the times and the end of the age. It sounds so cool. Jesus predicts the destruction of the temple, the great tribulation, the coming of the Son of Man. Let's go to 26. The plot to kill Jesus. Okay, let's read. Now, it came to pass, when Jesus had finished all these sayings, that he said to his disciples, You know that after 2 days is the Passover, and the Son of Man will be delivered up to be crucified. Straight up just told him. Then the chief priest, the scribes, and the elders of the people assembled at the palace of the high priest, who was called Caiaphas. I should know this. He was called. You tell me what this is. He was called Caiaphas. Caiaphas. Excuse my mouth. Caiaphas. Okay. And plotted to take Jesus by trickery and kill him. But they said, not during the feast, lest there be an uproar among the people, because it's sacred time, it's the Passover time and everything. So they were gonna take him and kill him. And they said plotted to take Jesus by trickery. That's crazy. Okay. This is the anointing at Bethany, which is a very nice story. Judas agrees to betray Jesus. Cutscene. Straight up to Judas betraying Jesus. Judas. Okay. Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priest and said, "What are you willing to give me if I deliver him to you?" Mother. So sneaky. He went up to the chief priest and said, "What are you willing to give me if I deliver him to you?" And they counted out to him 30 pieces of silver. So from that time he sought opportunity to betray him. Him in capital meaning Jesus. Crazy. 30 pieces of silver to betray the Son of God, God himself. Insane. Insane in the membrane. Okay. I guess I could keep reading this. Yeah, we can read more, so we'll keep reading. Jesus celebrates Passover with his disciples. Now, on the first day of the feast of the unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus, saying to him, "Where do you want us to prepare for you to eat the Passover?" And he said, "Go into the city to a certain man and say to him, 'The teacher says, my time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at your house with my disciples.'" So the disciples did as Jesus had directed them, and they prepared the Passover. When the evening had come, he sat down with the 12. Now as they were eating, he said, "Assuredly I say to you, one of you will betray me." I'd been like, what did he say? That's like such like a big thing to drop. Everyone's just eating and having a great Passover feast and chilling with your boys, and then all of a sudden the main boy, like Jesus goes, "Surely I say to you, one of y'all is gonna betray me." Except he didn't say finna, but he said one of y'all is gonna betray me or will betray me. I've been like, I'll just stop chewing my food and be like, who is it? Which is what they said. So listen. And they were exceedingly sorrowful. Okay, very different reaction than what I would have had. Maybe it makes sense because it's not like funny. That's a lot more valid reaction, I guess. Sorry. And they were exceedingly sorrowful, and each of them began to say to him, "Lord, is it I?" And he answered and said, "He who dipped his hand with me in the dish will betray me. The Son of Man indeed goes just as it is written of him, but woe to the man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would have been good for that man if he had not been born." Dang, that girl. That's crazy. I'm like, I would have started like contemplating all the things in my head, like how did I betray him in some way? Did I give him like the small piece of chicken? Like, I would have started freaking out, trying to recall, like, you know when you get called to the principal's office in school and you're like, I didn't do anything. Sorry, that was itchy. I used to get called to the principal's office for like random things. One time for a big thing with my family and I didn't know, and there was a cop. It was so crazy. But anyway, every single time I got called to the principal's office, I would like start questioning whether I did anything or not, if I was guilty of anything. Despite me being like an honor roll student and an orchestra nerd and all that jazz, I was like, what did I do? I wonder if that's how they felt. It's like, one of you will betray me, and they're like, Lord, is it I? did I do it? But then he said, the one who dipped his hand with me in the dish will betray me. Sorry, I don't look at everybody's hands. He said it would have been good for that man if he had not been born. Daggum, that's crazy. Then Judas, who was betraying him, answered and said, Rabbi, just like teacher, Rabbi, is it I? Don't make me mad right now. The audacity. Rabbi, is it I? Did I betray? Would I be the one to betray you? When you know good and well, with them 30 pieces of silver jingling in his pocket. Rabbi, jingle, is it I? I'm sorry. Rabbi, is it I? And Jesus said to him, you have said it. You said it. You know it's you, you know. Anyway, I'm sorry. I got way too much energy. Jesus institutes the Lord's Supper. The Lord's Supper. Every time I hear the word supper, I think of like, Brits for some reason. The British. Have some supper. We don't say supper really here in the States. We do say it in the South a little bit, supper, but it's not like, I don't know, it doesn't hit the same. We say dinner mostly. Yeah, maybe the older generation said supper, but I digress. Okay. Jesus institutes the Lord's Supper. And as they were eating, Jesus took bread, blessed it, and broke it. What was that? And gave it to the disciples and said, take, eat, this is my body. Then he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, drink from it, all of you, for this is my blood of the new covenant, which is shed for many for the remission of sins, the forgiveness of sins. But I say to you, I will not drink of this fruit of the vine from now on until the day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. That is so ominous. And when they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives, and that's where stuff got real. I'd have been like, when he's saying this stuff, like every time he says something, like I don't know how, maybe they were questioning a bunch of the things he was saying or like digging into it, but like I would have been like, did anyone catch that? Like, what did he just say? Because he said, but I say to you, I will not drink of this fruit of the vine from now on until the day that when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. Heaven. You're not gonna drink this grape juice wine stuff with us until we drink it together in heaven. What is about to happen? But maybe they knew, maybe they were chill. I'm sorry, I feel like different energy. Let's see. Just like here where he says, you know that after 2 days is the Passover, and the Son of Man will be delivered up to be crucified. Like he literally said he's gonna be crucified. It's crazy. I would have been like hugging him and like every 5 seconds, like, no, I protect you. Especially if they like didn't know where we're all first and like the old sorry, there's a gnat. And the old prophecies and whatnot. Is that a gnat or a mosquito? I better not. They're trying to distract me. Okay, let me focus. Jesus predicts Peter's denial. How many minutes? Oh, we're good on time. Okay. I'll get bit. Hopefully I don't get bit. Hopefully that is just a nap. But anyways, Jesus predicts Peter's denial. Then Jesus said to them, all of you will be made to settle because of, to stumble. Sorry. Illiterate. Then Jesus said to them, all of you will be made to stumble because of me in this night. For it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. I need to know where that's written at. That's kind of, I don't know why that sounds so hard, but it does. It's crazy. I would have been questioning that too. I'm so swear. But like he said, all of you will be made to stumble because of me this night. Because of me this night. For it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. Who's gonna strike you? I've been like, all day, man is dropping like the most ominous quotes. I've been like, what's gonna happen? Anyways. Next page. Okay. I don't know if y'all can see. Oh, I thought I ripped it. Okay, I don't know if y'all can see or if you've been able to see it all recently, but I'll keep reading. But after I have been raised, I will go before you to Galilee. Wow. I didn't finish the quote. Anyway, Peter answered and said to him, even if all are made to stumble because of you, I will never be made to stumble. And Jesus said to him, assuredly I say to you this night, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. Not 1 time, not 2 times, but 3 times. Peter said to him, even if I have to die with you, I will not deny you. And so said all the disciples. All the disciples, and that means Judas said it too. I don't have the patience to be God. I could never. Like, imagine all of them in a room being like, yeah, I won't deny you. Me either. We'll never deny you. We will never deny you. And then Judas in the corner like, yeah, we'll never deny it. And I knew that he was going to betray me. I'd been like, okay, bud. Ow. Sorry, that was my elbow. Okay, ready? The prayer in the garden. Then Jesus came with them to a place called Gethsemane. I know that one. I can never pronounce it though. A place called Gethsemane, and said to the disciples, sit here while I go and pray over there. And he took with him Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee, and he began to be sorrowful and deeply distressed. And he said to them, my soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even to death. Stay here and watch with me. He went a little farther and fell on his face and prayed, saying, oh, my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will. Not my will, but your will be done. That mess always makes me so sad that, like, he didn't. Like, he was like, if there's any other way besides this pain I'm about to go through, like, please. But at the same time, he was like, but not my will, but your will be done. Like, I'll do it anyways. It's like crazy. Then he came to the disciples and found them sleeping, and said to Peter, what? Could you not watch with me 1 hour? Literally, I've been like, 1? Really? Watch and pray lest you enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. Facts. Again, a second time, he went away and prayed, saying, oh, my Father, if this cup cannot pass away from me unless I drink it, your will be done. And he came and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. So he left them and went away again and prayed the 3rd time, saying the same words. Then he came to his disciples and said to them, are you still sleeping and resting? Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is being betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us be going. See, my betrayer is at hand. Oh, it's crazy. That's crazy. Stop it. Like, especially with all those ominous things he was saying, I would have been like super paranoid. But they were young. I'm pretty sure they were like early 20s or like teens and stuff, all the disciples. The boys. they were just like, I don't know. I speak as if I'm better. I sleep, so I can sleep. Maybe I wouldn't have been no better. Who knows? Betrayal and arrest in Gethsemane. And while he was still sleeping, and while he was still speaking, behold, Judas, one of the 12, with a great multitude with swords and clubs, came from the chief priests and elders of the people. Judas came back with a whole gang of people, weapons. And now his betrayer had given them a sign, saying, "Whomever I kiss, he is the one. Seize him." So Judas went up to them and was like, "Whoever I kiss is Jesus, so that's the one you seize." Immediately he went up to Jesus, Judas did, and said, "Greetings, Rabbi." "Hey, what's up? What's up, Rabbi? What's up, teacher?" And he kissed him. "Greetings, Rabbi," and kissed him. Like, what's up? Like, that's what he did. It's crazy. The audacity. Like, to be like, "Greetings, Rabbi." Like, he's not God. Like, he's not Jesus. He's been with this man through thick and thin, through all the miracles. And, like, he should know that he knows everything. So to try and deceive him and be like, "Hey, what's up? What's happening?" It's crazy. Anyway. But Jesus said to him, "Friend, why have you come?" Then they came and laid hands on Jesus and took him. And suddenly, one of those who were with Jesus stretched out his hand and drew his sword, struck the servant of the high priest, and cut off his ear. Such a G. They say one of those who were with Jesus. I'm pretty sure it was Peter. Anyways, I forget. I think it was Peter. Anyway, one of those who were with Jesus stretched out his hand and drew his sword. Boy, wasn't playing no games. And struck the servant of the high priest and cut off his ear. That is so hard. Get wrecked. Anyway, I'm sorry. But Jesus said to him, "Put your sword in its place, for all who take the sword will perish by the sword. Or do you think that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he will provide with me with more than 12 legions of angels?" Back to this part. "Put your sword in its place, for all who take the sword will perish by the sword." I don't know why that gives me such, like, I've already done a video on this, but it gives me like Thorfinn Stad vibes. Or maybe Thorfinn's dad was inspired by, the B-play. But, anyway. "Or do you think that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he will provide me with more than 12 legions of angels? How then could the scriptures be fulfilled, that it must happen thus?" Yeah, how is the prophecy gonna get fulfilled unless they take me? I've been like, okay. By the way, for those of you that don't know, in the Bible, red is when Jesus is talking. That's like quoting him, the red is, and the black isn't. So, just so you know, for those of you that don't know. Where was I? In that hour, Jesus said to the multitudes, "Have you come out as against a robber with swords and clubs to take me? I sat daily with you, teaching in the temple, and you did not seize me. But all this was done that the scriptures of the prophets might be fulfilled." Then all the disciples forsook him and fled. All that talk before about we wouldn't do this, we would never betray you, Jesus. This is then all the disciples forsook him and fled. They left him and ran. That's so sad. All his friends dipped. Like literally the same day they swore they would never betray him. Anyways. priest, where the scribes and the elders were assembled. But Peter followed him at a distance to the high priest's courtyard, and he went in and sat with the servants to see the end. Now the chief priests, the elders, and all the council sought false testimony against Jesus to put him to death, but found none. Even though many false witnesses came forward, they found none. But at last 2 false witnesses came forward and said, "This fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of God, and to build it in 3 days." They called Jesus a fellow. That's funny. Fellow. Okay. And the high priest arose and said to him, "Do you answer nothing? What is it these men testify against you?" But Jesus kept silent. And the high priest answered and said to him, "I put you under oath by the living God. Tell us if you are the Christ, the Son of God!" Exclamation mark. And Jesus said to him, "It is as you said. Nevertheless, I say to you, hereafter you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the power, and coming on the clouds of heaven." Then the high priest tore his clothes. Bro was mad. Then the high priest tore his clothes, saying, "He has spoken blasphemy. What further need do you have of witnesses? Look, now you have heard his blasphemy. What do you think?" They answered and said, "He is deserving of death." Then they spat in his face and beat him, and others struck him with the palms of their hands, saying, "Prophesy to us, Christ, who is the one who struck you?" I forgot about that. That is so rude. "Prophesy to us, Christ, who's the one who struck you? Which one of us struck you?" After they hit him. That's crazy. Glory to God. Glory to Jesus Christ. Because, I keep thinking about if I was him in his place, if I was God, and I got jumped by my own creation and spit on my face. They spit in my face and started jumping me and hitting me with the palms of their hands, saying, "Prophesy to us, which one of us hit you?" Obliterated, literally instant acid disintegration. I would melt their flesh, I would fire, swallowed up by a hole in the ground, straight to hell. But again, that's why I'm not God. That's crazy. I always forgot about that. I always forget about that. Peter denies Jesus and weeps bitterly. Now Peter sat outside in the courtyard, and a servant girl came to him, saying, "You also were with Jesus of Galilee." You were with Jesus of Galilee. Some girl came up saying that, and he's just trying to hide in the court or just chilling in the court. But he denied it before them all, saying, "I do not know what you are saying." I don't know what you're saying. Jesus, Jesus, who are you talking about? I don't know. That's what he did. It's crazy. And then when they had gone out to the gateway, another girl saw him and said to those who were there, "This fellow also was with Jesus of Nazareth." That's the guy that was with Jesus. But again he denied with an oath, "I do not know the man!" Exclamation mark. Peter. And a little later those who stood by came up and said to Peter, "Surely you also are one of them, for your speech betrays you." Then he began to curse and swear, saying, "I do not know the man." Immediately a rooster crowed. Oh, dang. And Peter remembered the word of Jesus, who had said to him, "Before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. So he went out and wept bitterly. That's crazy. It says immediately the rooster crowed after it says right here, Peter answered and said to him, this is like flashback, even if all are made to stumble because of you, I would never be made to stumble. I would never be made to stumble. I would never betray you. And Jesus said to him, assuredly I say to you, that this night, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. Peter said to him, even if I have to die with you, I will not deny you! Explanation mark. And so said all the disciples. That's rough. That's rough. So he went out and wept bitterly. Matthew 27. Jesus handed over to Pontius Pilate. When morning came, all the chief priests and elders of the people plotted against Jesus to put him to death. And when they had bound him, they led him away and delivered him to Pontius Pilate, the governor. Judas hangs himself. Dun-dun. Then Judas, his betrayer, seeing that he had been condemned, was remorseful and brought back the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and elders. He's like, what have I done? What have I done? So he went back to the chief priests and elders to bring back the silver, like, take it. So he brought back the silver, saying, I have sinned by betraying innocent blood. And they said, what is that to us? You see to it. Then he threw down the pieces of silver in the temple and departed, and went and hanged himself. Dang. I already know this story, but every time I hear it, like, it's like, sheesh. I get that. I used to be a little shorish, schmooish, just a little bit. But Joker, yeah, I can see that. He threw the silver and said, I betrayed innocent blood. Ah. Yep. Then he went out and they said, what is that to us? Okay, like we care. That's crazy. But the chief priests took the silver pieces and said, it is not lawful to put them into the treasury, because they are the price of blood. And they consulted together and brought with them the potter's field to bury strangers in. Therefore, that field has been called the field of blood to this day. Interesting, right? The field of blood to this day. I wonder if it's still called the field of blood to this day. And if anyone knows where it is. So interesting. Where is it? Then was fulfilled what was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, and they took the 30 pieces of silver, the value of him who was prized, whom they of the children of Israel prized, and gave them for the potter's field, as the Lord directed me. Wow. Another prophecy. Jesus faces Pontius Pilate. Now Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, saying, are you the king of the Jews? Jesus said to him, it is as you say. And while he was being accused by the chief priests and elders, he answered nothing. Then Pilate said to him, do you not hear how many things they testify against you? But he answered him, not one word. So the governor marveled greatly, like, wow. Taking the place of Barabbas. Crazy. I think you guys should watch The Passion of the Christ if you haven't seen it already. That guy played a great Barabbas. There's some lore behind that scene and everything too, but I won't get into that. Now, at the feast, the governor was accustomed to releasing to the multitude one prisoner whom they wished. And at that time, they had a notorious prisoner called Barabbas. Therefore, when they had gathered together, Pilate said to them, who do you want me to release to you, Barabbas or Jesus, who was called Christ? For he knew that they had handed him over because of envy. While he was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife said to him, saying, "Have nothing to do with that just man." Oh wow. So the governor's wife came up to him and said, "Have nothing to do with that just man, for I have suffered many things today in a dream because of him." Wow. I don't know how I forgot that detail too. But the chief priests and elders persuaded the multitudes that they should ask for Barabbas and destroy Jesus. The governor answered and said to them, "Which of the two do you want me to release to you?" They said, "Barabbas." Pilate said to them, "What then shall I do with Jesus, who is called Christ?" They all said to him, "Let him be crucified." Crazy, because just a week ago they were praising him and welcoming him into the town, with their putting their clothes on the road for the donkey to ride over. That's such a freaking flip. Let him be crucified. Then the governor said, "Why, what evil has he done?" But they cried out all the more, saying, "Let him be crucified." When Pilate saw that he could not prevail at all, but rather that a tumult was rising, I guess a horde of people, I don't know, he took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, "I am innocent of the blood of this just person. You see to it." And all the people answered and said, "His blood be on us and on our own and on our children." Dang, they were about it. "His blood be on us and on our children." Sheesh. Then he released Barabbas to them, and when he had scourged Jesus, he delivered him to be crucified. Barabbas was also a murderer. That's why he was in prison, because he was known for murdering people and stuff, and they wanted him over Jesus. The soldiers mocked Jesus. Okay, hopefully it's been a bit. Hopefully my storage keeps up with this. Then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus into Praetorium and gathered the whole garrison around him. And they stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him. When they had twisted a crown of thorns, they put it on his head and a reed in his right hand. And they bowed the knee before him and mocked him, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews." Then they spat on him and took the reed and struck him on the head. And when they had mocked him, they took the robe off him, put his own clothes on him, and led him away to be crucified. A king on a cross. The king on a cross. Now, as they came out, they found a man of Cyrene, I forget how to pronounce that, Simon by his name. Oh yeah, they picked a guy out of the crowd. Simon by name. Him they compelled to bear his cross. Hey, help Jesus carry his cross, because Jesus is probably super weak from being beaten, And also crosses were really heavy. I think they were a couple 100 pounds or something, 200 or 300 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure they're pretty heavy because they're big, giant, freaking chunks of lumber, huge tree, basically. Anyways, and they compelled to bear his cross. And when they had come to a place called Golgotha, that is to say, place of a skull, they gave him sour wine mingled with gall to drink. But when he had tasted it, he would not drink. Then they crucified him and divided his garments, casting lots, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet. Here's the prophecy. my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots. Like, what is auctions, I guess? Probably. Another prophecy fulfilled. Sitting down, they kept watch over him there, and they put up to his head the accusation written against him: "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." So they wrote that down on whatever, some wood or something, and they put that title, "This is Jesus, King of the Jews," above him. I forget what it is in Latin. I should know this. I took Latin for 3 years. Inri, something. I'll look for it later, but yeah. Then 2 robbers were crucified with him, one on the right and another on the left. 2 robbers. And those who passed by blasphemed him, wagging their heads and saying, "You who destroy the temple and built it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross." Likewise, the chief priests also, mocking with the scribes and elders, said, "He saved others. Himself he cannot save. If he is the King of Israel, let him now come down from the cross, and we will believe him. He trusted in God. Let him deliver him now if he will have him. For he said, 'I am the Son of God.'" Even the robbers who were crucified with him reviled him with the same thing. Dang. So everybody's out here roasting him and mocking him. And even the people that are getting crucified next to him, the robbers next to him, are coughing up blood, "Yeah, shave yourself if you're the Son of God. That's crazy because you're dying too." Sorry. Anyways, Jesus dies on the cross. Now, from the 6th hour until the 9th hour, there was darkness over the land. And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, saying, "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani?" That is, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Some of those who stood there when they heard that said, "This man is calling for Elijah." Immediately, one of them ran and took a sponge, filled it with sour wine, and put it on a reed, and offered it to him to drink. The rest said, "Let him alone. Let us see if Elijah will come to save him." And Jesus cried out again with a loud voice, and yielded up his spirit. Then behold, the veil of the temple was torn in 2 from top to bottom. And the veil of the temple was torn in 2 from top to bottom. And the earth quaked, and the rocks were split. The veil of the temple, by the way, was crazy thick, I'm pretty sure over a foot plus thick. It was a very thick veil, so it being torn from top to bottom was something. And the earth quaked and the rocks were split. And the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were risen. That must have been crazy. There's zombies, the earth is shaking. And then many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were risen. Were raised. And coming out of the graves after his resurrection, they went into the holy city and appeared to many. So when the centurion and those with him who were guarding Jesus, the Romans, saw the earthquake and the things that had happened, they feared greatly, saying, "Truly, this was the Son of God." And many women who followed Jesus from Galilee, ministering to him, were there looking on from afar, among whom were Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James and Joseph, and the mother of Zebedee's sons. Jesus buried in Joseph's tomb. Now, when evening had come, there came a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, who himself had also become a disciple of Jesus. this man went to Pontius Pilate, and asked for the body of Jesus. Then Pilate commanded the body to be given to him. When Joseph had taken the body, he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth, and he laid it in his new tomb, which he had hewn out of rock. And he rolled a large stone against the door of the tomb and departed. That's so sweet of him. Some rich guy's like, I'll give him a proper burial. And Mary Magdalene was there, and the other Mary sitting opposite of the tomb. Pilate sends a guard. On the next day, which followed the day of preparation, the chief priests and Pharisees gathered together to Pilate, saying, Sir, we remember while he was still alive, how that deceiver said, After 3 days I will rise. Therefore command that the tomb be made secure until the 3rd day, lest his disciples come by night and steal him away, and say to the people, He has risen from the dead. So the last deception will be worse than the first. Pilate said to them, You have a guard. Go your way. Make it as secure as you know how. So they went and made the tomb secure, sealing the stone and setting the guard. Matthew 28. He is risen. I can't think about that vine, that he is risen vine, every time I read it now. Vine has tainted my brain. Brain rot. Anyways. Matthew 28. He is risen. Now after the Sabbath, as the first day of the week began to dawn, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary came to see the tomb, and behold, there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descended from heaven, and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat on it. His countenance, means like his demeanor, was like lightning, and his clothing as white as snow. And the guard shook for fear of him, and became like dead men. But the angel answered and said to the woman, Do not be afraid, for I know that you seek Jesus who was crucified. It's funny how he talked to the woman and said, Don't be afraid, but didn't say that to the guards. He is not there, for he is risen. As he said, Come, see the place where the Lord lay. And go quickly and tell his disciples that he is risen from the dead, and indeed, he is going before you into Galilee. There you will see him. Behold, I have told you. So they went out quickly from the tomb with fear and great joy, and ran to bring his disciples word. The women worship the risen Lord. And as they went to tell his disciples, behold, Jesus met them, saying, Rejoice. Jesus met them, saying, Rejoice. So they came and held him by the feet and worshipped him. Then Jesus said to them, Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brethren to go to Galilee, and there they will see me. The soldiers are bribed. Now, while they were going, behold, some of the guard came into the city and reported to the chief priest all the things that had happened. When they had assembled with the elders and consulted together, they gave a large sum of money to the soldiers, saying, Tell them his disciples came at night and stole him away while we slept. And if this comes to the governor's ears, we will appease him and make you secure, because that's punishable, falling asleep, saying, Oh yeah, we fell asleep, and his disciples came and stole him. So that's why I guess they said, We'll make you secure if the governor finds out. So they took the money and did as they were instructed. And this saying is commonly reported among the Jews unto this day. Wow. The Great Commission. Then the 11 disciples went away into Galilee, to the mountain which Jesus had appointed for them. When they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. And Jesus came and spoke to them, saying, All authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. Go therefore and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all the things that I have commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. Amen. Beautiful. I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. I love reading to you guys, it's really fun. And I think I'm gonna do more of it. I hope that you enjoyed. Comment down any questions you might have about anything, and I'll try to answer them as best I can. If you have questions, or if you just want to comment. I know this was a really long video, and usually my videos are like really short, but if you stuck around this long, thank you, and it's really fun hanging out. Okay, I am going to go ahead and get ready for the day. I go hit the gym or something, I don't know, but you sleep. You go to sleep. You go to bed. And I will see you again in a couple days. I think I'm gonna start posting like Wednesdays and Sundays or Saturdays. So weekends and Wednesdays, but we'll see. We'll see. Anyways, good night. Good night, good night, good night. And thank you for hanging out with me. Merry Easter. Happy Easter. And I hope you have fun with your families or friends, or even by yourself, just spending time with our Father. And if you haven't seen Passion of the Christ, you should watch it, because it's basically everything we just read.